Dads, it's Friday, and that means one thing. The week's grind is behind you, and now you're crashing into the weekend at full speed. With little time to take a breather before you throw yourself in, how are you going to reset? How are you going to recharge? And how are you going to tackle the challenges ahead? And how are you going to give your kids what they need? This is your moment to reset. If you're anything like me, I just need a second. If it's been a tough week, then I just need that moment to gather my thoughts before I can get anywhere close to giving them what they need. And that's why I've created Friday Fuel. This is your moment to reset, refocus and recharge before you step into the weekend. This isn't just another motivational talk. I'm putting down a marker. I want to help you show up as the dad your family needs. Every Friday, we're going to dive into the relentlessness of fatherhood. We're going to talk strategies, insights, and help you shake off the stress from the week. Fatherhood doesn't wait, and neither should you. Your kids need you to be present, engaged, connected, and energized. And taking a moment for yourself should give you that all-important time to disconnect and focus on what's really important. Look, if you like what you hear, like what you see, be part of our community. Subscribe to the podcast, join the community. All the links are in the description. I'm excited to have you here today. I'm excited for you to listen. I'm excited to hear your thoughts on the episode. And if you have anything that you want me to cover, don't be afraid to ask. I will endeavour to cover everything I can. This is Friday Fuel. Let's get started. So I want to kick off this episode with a couple of questions for you. Do you question whether you're giving it enough? Do you think that you're letting your kids down? It's a difficult one, right? It's a challenge that we face, that often we feel burnt out, often we feel frustrated, often we feel overwhelmed. Often we lose sight of what's important. We lose sight of the value and contribution that we add to the family unit. We often tackle challenges head on. We force ourselves from the back foot back onto the front foot so that we can give them what they need. We provide, we protect. We're a source of energy. But when your energy is depleted, where do you go? How do you decompress? Where does your focus end up? In 2020, I didn't have any energy. My resources were depleted. I was on the back foot, and the darkness had stopped me seeing the beauty that was all around. And that's what fatherhood is about. It gives you this opportunity to see things differently. It gives you a unique perspective. It challenges you to think about who you are, your identity, the man that you are, the characteristics that you display, and ultimately the role model that you want to be for your children. But if you're on the back foot, if the darkness has clouded your judgment, if you're unable to see the importance of your role, the value and the contribution that you bring, you undermine your capacity to lead. You undermine your ability to adapt to the challenges that are ahead. Your role, your energy, your resources, every time you go through setback, through challenge, through defeat, you have to bounce back. But if you fail to recognise how much of a toll it takes on you mentally and physically, then how do you bounce back with the same energy levels? How do you give your children what they need when you've hit the bottom, or you're on your way to the bottom? It's incredibly difficult. I liken it to an elastic band. We all go through challenging times, experiences that force us to adapt, force us to get back on the wagon and just keep pushing forward. That's our role as fathers. But every time you don't deal with the baggage, you don't deal with the challenge, that misstep or that mistake, every time you don't learn from it, every time you don't process it or you fail to reflect on it, what it does is it pulls again and again and again, and the fibres of the elastics start to stretch and fray. And the longer you go without taking a moment to decompress, without taking a moment to breathe, the harder it is to regain focus, regain clarity. You want to be a positive influence on your children. You want to guide with conviction. You want to guide with confidence, strength, courage. You want to give your children what they need. But every time you pull at the fibres of that elastic, every time it's going to fray further. And eventually, like what happened to me in 2020, it snaps. And that's where you're left with this choice. You have a decision to make. You need to make the right choice, because ultimately, when you look far into the future, what legacy do you leave behind? If you choose the wrong option, you destroy the future of your children. If you choose the right option, you have to regain their trust, regain their confidence, because ultimately you will have pushed them away, you will have held them at arm's length, and you will have destroyed the fabric of the relationship that you were trying to build. And you have to regain their confidence, their love. They will always love you unconditionally. But the further you push them away, the more time you spend isolated, the more time alone you are in the darkness, the harder the relationship is to maintain. The difficult position that you'll find yourself in is that, have you pushed them too far? Have you broken what was there? Are you going to have to piece it back together as part of your recovery? Now, we question our value, we question our contribution from the moment we become dads. Why? Well, we're in the thick of it, but we're also an observer at times. We don't quite have it nailed on early on. We don't quite understand our place. We don't understand the role that we're going to play. That kind of chips away our confidence. It chips away as the fabric of who we are. But ultimately, your role is critical to the success of your partner, critical to the success of her bond with baby. Your role is to build upon that. It's about building the foundation, the mental resilience, the mental strength to get through it. But you can't do that from a position of weakness, or a position where you have already stretched the elastic too far and you are on the cusp of a mental break. Your mental resilience, your mental strength is critical to your success. Your resilience is the foundation of your success as a parent. Your ability to adapt, to be flexible, to change the course of your family's future, it rests on your ability to bounce back, to understand that setback is designed to test you, but also teach you something. If you ignore the lesson, like I did for a long period of time, then you will find yourself stumbling round in the dark, stumbling round trying to find answers. The clarity will not be there. And because the clarity isn't there, because you don't understand what truly matters, what's driving you, what that motivating factor is, you make wrong decision after wrong decision. And then you lose the confidence to make the decision. You start to feel burned out, and your energy, or lack of it, seeps into your relationships. It seeps into the bond that you're trying to build with your baby. When my son was born in 2020, I was holding everyone at arm's length. I regret it. I feel guilt for it now. But I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was protecting them from the monster within, the angry, frustrated dad that I'd become. But it had nothing to do with being a parent. And that's the challenge that we all face. Our entire world inside our home is influenced by what goes on outside, influenced by the opinions of others, the thoughts and behaviours of other people, the challenges that you face at work spill out into the home. You have to be able to set those challenges at the door. You have to be walking over that threshold, energised, filled with the fuel that they need to enjoy your company. That's our role. Our role is to bring energy to the table. It's to create space for ourselves, but also create space for them, where we're engaged, where we're communicating at a level that they understand, but also from a position of empathy, understanding, caring. And that's not just with your kids, that's also with your partner. Your ego has to be parked at the door. You cannot come in and say, I've had a terrible day, these are the challenges I've faced, and not listen to what's happened at home, especially in the early days. Your contribution, your value starts on day one. Recognize it. Learn to appreciate the impact that you're having. Plan ahead. Prepare for the next challenge. Prepare for the next setback. Understand the setback. Appreciate what the lesson is. Learn from it. Adapt and move forward. But before you do any of that, you must understand the role that you play at home. The man that you are. The man that you want to become. The dad that you want to become. Those two unique opportunities to reset, rebirth. You are becoming dad. You are creating something unique, something special, a legacy that you will leave behind. When you're old and grey, what legacy will you have left behind? How will you define your success? All of those questions, that type of question, we forget. We don't think about it. We get our heads down, we get stuck in, and we give it our all. But as we give it our all, are we burning out? And are we losing sight of what's truly important? That connection that we're looking for. That love. As I've said, they will always love you. They will look at you through those eyes, staring up at you through that innocence, and they will see the great dad. Now, you might not feel that way. You might feel the weight of expectation. You might feel the baggage weighing you down. But if you can reset, if you can take a moment to decompress, you have this unique chance every single day to grasp onto the unique situation that you find yourself in. Those memories, the small chinks of light amongst the chaos. You have this opportunity. Don't overlook the role that you play. Don't underplay the value and your contribution early on. Now, do you feel like you're failing or you're letting them down? Do you lose your patience quickly? Are you quick to raise your voice? And do you lose your shit? Yes, that's me too. I do lose my cool. I get frustrated and I lose my shit. I do my best to keep on top of it, but sometimes the circumstances, they just wear you down. Take it from me. Being present, trying to give them what they need, is the hardest thing you'll ever do. I question every day whether I'm good enough, whether I could give them more. I challenge every decision, every reaction, and whilst I know I'm doing my best, the world often distracts me from the ultimate goal, which is to be the dad they need me to be. Look, it's overwhelming, it can be incredibly frustrating, but at the same time, as I've said, there are moments of chaos that in the blink of an eye turn into bliss. Look, fatherhood is overwhelming because for some of us, we're not looking after ourselves. We're not looking after our health. We're not looking after our mental health, our physical health. We're eating the wrong stuff. We're staying up too late. We're not sleeping well enough. We are more focused on the thoughts and feelings and opinions of others. And we are pushing ourselves to provide and protect our children. But are we doing it at a cost? Are we draining our resources and creating conflict unnecessarily? Are we causing tension at home because we're absent-minded, we're not really thinking things through, our decision making is flawed? Or is it because we're pushing those we love away? We're all guilty of it at times. We push and pull. We destroy things that make us happy. We destroy things that contribute to the happiness of others. We do so because at times when things are hard and we're lost in the darkness, it's easier to push those we love away. It's easier to fight on alone, or so we think. It's much easier to push your children away than embrace them and embrace your vulnerable side. We all need at times to take a break. We all need time to decompress. We all need to embrace the role that creates opportunity for them, that creates future for them. But it comes with a warning. we will drain our energy, we will drain our resources because we think it's the right thing to do. So if you're failing to look after the basics and get the basics right, then you will eventually burn out. You will create conflict in the home. You will push your children away. They love you unconditionally. They trust you. They have confidence in you. Your role is to ensure that you never breach that trust, you never lose that confidence, you never hurt them in a way where they stop respecting you, stop loving you, and stop thinking of you as the Superman, the superhero in their story. Your role is critical to their future success, and it is critical that you embrace the challenges that you face. It's critical that you reset. It's critical that you understand the pressure around you and understand how to separate it from the home so that you do protect them, that your provision is not eroding the relationship that you have. We all need to take a break. We all need that break in the day to reset. The problem is, for some of us, we're not taking it. We're not giving ourselves an opportunity to appreciate and be grateful for the opportunity to shape the world that they live in, to shape a life. Our primary responsibility is to give them what they need. What they need, as I've said many times, is super simple. It's love, warmth, food, protection, guidance. Your objective is simple: to lead with confidence, lead with courage, and lead with strength. Those masculine traits are critical to your success. They're critical to the success of your children. But you do need to embrace that vulnerability. You need to understand your weaknesses. You need to work on those weaknesses so that they do not leak out into the home. They need to see the best version of you at all times. That energizer that gives them the energy that they need, that they bounce off, that they build their confidence from. Look, there's an emotional toll, there's a mental weight that we have to carry. And a failure to look after your mental and physical health is going to catch you out. Your failure to see the impact of your past failures and decision making is also going to catch up with you. Let's be frank, those moments in the past where you failed to deliver, they might just catch you out now. So my advice is very simple. Take a step back, celebrate your progress, and live in the moment. Look, I've been so distracted lately with challenges that we're facing, I momentarily lost sight for a moment of the joy and the laughter. Do I feel guilty? Yes. Could I do better? Hell yeah. And can I make it up to them? Absolutely. Look, I will always push to be better. I will always push to be more connected and more present. Why? Because nothing else matters. It's the input that delivers the output. What do I mean by that? The input is the stress. The input is the anxiety. The input is the pressure that you put on yourself. The input is your expectations, your goals, your achievements. The input is the thoughts, feelings, and opinions of others that you allow to influence the way that you are, the role that you play. The output is what they see. The output is the most important aspect, but the output is influenced by everything that you put in. So if you're not looking after your health, if you're not looking after your physical health, your mental health, if you're drained of energy, if you're causing yourself to be drained of energy because your habits just don't align to being more energized, then those inputs will impact the way that you are around them. They'll impact your connection, your ability to build those foundations that you need to create the relationship that you want to create. The input can be something from the past, something that you've not dealt with, something that lies beneath the surface, something that stops you in your tracks as their dad. Those inputs, those are the things that will influence who they become. Your characteristics are going to be influenced by those inputs. So what's on show today is going to influence who they become. So your role is to improve the quality of the input, is to work harder on yourself, spend more time understanding you, understanding the role that you want to play, understanding the characteristics that you want to display. understanding the man you are today and understanding what's influenced you in the decisions that you've made. Perhaps you've made mistakes that you're still trying to undo now. The input is going to influence who you become and influence who they become. Your role today is to understand those inputs, break them down, and recognize which ones are holding you back. Only then can you adjust and learn from the mistakes, learn the lessons from those mistakes, and appreciate the journey that you've been on, because it's ultimately about reflection. This is a rite of passage. The day you become a dad, there is so much that you don't know, but there's so much that you've been through that brings you to who you are now. And it's your opportunity to understand the input, understand the things that are holding you back. And if you reflect on them and you understand them and you make the changes necessary, you can then focus on the output. Focus on the things that truly matter. And as you focus on the things that truly matter, those things that motivate you, the things that drive you forward, then you can continually improve that input. Now, my view of fatherhood is simple. We can all do a little better. Not because we're not good enough, but because they need us to step up when times are hard or where things aren't going their way. We need to guide from a position of strength and confidence, but we also need to understand the impact of both our actions and our inaction. We must set the tone for every interaction. A tough interaction with your kids is often made worse by your inability to tackle issues that are causing you to feel conflicted. Look, here's some rules to live by. Always show up and give them the energy you know they need. Always apologise for your mistakes, your error in judgment, and whenever you lose your cool. Because it teaches them about respect. It also teaches them that it's okay to show emotion. We want these kids to be emotionally resilient, to bounce back and to learn from setback. They need to understand what it's like to lose. I think it's also important to open up about the challenges you faced when you were young, because I think it helps them strengthen internally and gives them that mental steel that they need to succeed. You need to teach them where value comes from and, importantly, how to value themselves before looking for validation from others. These are the keys to your strengths as dad. Now, I remember feeling just like you, overwhelmed, anxious, and questioning my abilities as a dad. I was constantly trying to do it all, work hard, be there for my kids, keep my partner happy. And in the process, I lost sight of what really mattered. My mental health deteriorated and my connection with my kids slipped away. It wasn't until I stopped to see the damage I was leaving behind that I was able to make changes. I needed to be a better dad, but I could only become the dad they needed if I buried the ego and forced myself to reflect on the things that hurt. Today, I still question whether I'm doing it right. I know I'm travelling in the right direction, but I don't have it all figured out. And that's what it's all about. It's about intentional leadership. This journey has taught me so much. The answer isn't in doing more, it's in taking thoughtful steps and intentional steps to building something sustainable. By putting systems in place for self-care, self-reflection, setting realistic expectations, I was able to find some balance. And it was the balance that I had desperately been searching for. So to be clear, you're not alone. We all go through challenges. It's okay to seek support for your struggles. Let me be very clear that self-care is not selfish. Taking care of yourself is critical to being the best dad and partner you can be. My friend, work-life balance is a myth. Create harmony. Finding balance doesn't mean dividing your time perfectly. It just means creating harmony between the different roles that you play. And the big one, and your vulnerability enables you to approach challenges with a clearer head. It's a strength, not a weakness. Opening up and asking for help is one of the most important things and powerful things that you can do for yourself and your family. My friend, it's time to stop trying to do it all. You don't have to sacrifice your mental health, your connection with your kids, or your relationship. Modern Fatherhood Club has your back. But signing up, making changes, setting expectations, and focusing on what really matters, my friend, that's on you. If you're looking for support, guidance, and community that helps you to deliver what they need without losing yourself in the process, then join us. We will support you on your unique fatherhood journey. This episode is all about understanding more about you, understanding the influence that you have, and understanding where true power comes from. Ultimately, you need to value who you are, the contribution that you bring. You have to understand that your value comes from here, comes from within. It doesn't come from the external pressure. It doesn't come from the thoughts and feelings of others. As long as you understand your role, as long as you understand the input and you recognize your output and how it's influenced by what you put in, then you can become the dad they need. Your role is simple. Give them what they need. Understand it. Don't put pressure on yourself. Recognize how far you've come. Celebrate your progress. Be clear on the action that you need to take. Focus on the objective. Focus on that output. But to maximize that output, you must understand what's truly important to you. You must understand what's influencing your ability to engage with them, to be present with them, to give them what they need. Because if you don't, and you are on the edge of the shadows, then the shadows will drag you in. You will lose sight of what's important, and they will lose sight of the dad that they love. They will see you pushing them away to protect them. They will feel it. It will burn. They will see you distant. They will see how disconnected you are, how distracted you've become. Your role is to reset. Fatherhood teaches you many lessons, but the most important lesson is to reflect on those lessons and the setbacks that you've already been through, and to ensure that they're not influencing the dad that you are today. They're not stopping you playing full out. They're not stopping you giving them an energetic, enthusiastic role model. Somebody that's clear on their direction of travel, someone that is prepared for the challenges ahead, someone who's prepared to adapt, be flexible, and approach every challenge with clarity. That's what they need from you. You are the leader. You guide if you can guide from a position of confidence and strength and courage, then you can give them what they need. This has been Aidan. This is the Modern Fatherhood Club. This is Friday Fuel. And again, thank you for listening. Thank you for stopping by. And if you're interested in any of our courses, any of our ebooks, get on the website, modernfatherhoodclub.com. Grab one of our free ebooks. Grab one of our courses. Take time to reflect on your fatherhood story and understand the impact you can have. Embrace it. Focus on it. Channel your energy towards becoming the dad they need. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you again soon.